This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Joining me now, John Brummett, columnist with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette for a little post-election analysis. We're going to go state and national. John, good to have you with us.
Good to be with you. I'll explain now how it turned out the way I didn't think it would.
All right. Let's begin nationally. Not a red wave, more of a red mirage is what we are seeing. Not in Arkansas, but nationally.
Right.
Democrats look like they're going to hold the U.S. Senate. There is still a likely chance for Republicans take the House, but it's not going to be by a big margin. How do you spin this if you're a Democrat? How do you spin this if you're a Republican?
If you're a Democrat, you say, hey, the out of office party 2 years into most any presidency makes major gains, and the president's party loses, has a shellacking, as Obama said he had, and Clinton also. We're going to lose. This is a Democratic spin. We're going to lose at most 2, 4, 5, 6 House seats. We will lose control, but not by much. We're not only going to hold the Senate with our 50, but we may get 51 amid inflation, amid voter moods which were negative and pessimistic. And we told you at the end, this is about saving democracy. And the people spoke against Trumpian extremism and against election deniers time and time again. And that's what happened. And this is a repudiation of Republican extremism and Trumpism. And it is not, when you lose the House, it's not a validation of all that we've done, but it is reflects more voter satisfaction with our efforts than with theirs. That's how Democrats spin it. Republicans spin it by saying, hey, we took back the House. What do you want? The Senate was always going to be different. I'm running out of spin on the Republican side. Yeah, we thought we would do better, but the parties have become so sophisticated. This is it. Have become so sophisticated in identifying their voters and getting turnout that what happened to us here was the Democrats turned out their vote in a way that the in party doesn't normally 2 years in, because our analytics are so much better, our data is so much better, our technology is so much better, that you can find those people and encourage them with your messaging. So that's what happened to us. We may be seeing, Republicans will say, sort of a seismic shift in the way we look at midterms because of the ability to target voters and fashion turnout that you couldn't do before. That's the best spin I got both ways.
And we'll have to see if that shift in the midterm election map actually translates to a shift in the electoral map in 2024, because I think you can make an argument. Florida, not a swing state anymore. Michigan, Pennsylvania, maybe leaning a little blue, but still swingy. The western states of Arizona, for instance, now in play. And maybe even you throw Georgia in there from time to time. Texas, not as moving blue as it was predicted to be. So I think there's a lot to watch in 2024 that might just throw conventional wisdom on its head in terms of how it might play out based on historical patterns. Would you agree?
Well, it might surprise you that I've been thinking about 2024 and about the map, and I can see a new blue, a new western blue, which starts southwest in New Mexico, encompasses Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, and then the traditional Pacific West, California, Oregon, and Washington, and Hawaii, which is certainly west. That's blue. Georgia, I think, is truly purple. It just truly is. Maybe a little more red. It's just that Trump keeps messing them up down there. And Walker was not as strong a candidate as they might have had. But the Atlanta suburbs, greater Atlanta, seriously getting blue. And then, yeah, Fetterman's win, Michigan Democrats taking back the legislature. I think that the upper Midwest block that Hillary lost narrowly and thus lost the presidency seems to have turned a little bit more blue since then. And all that's a little different. And Ohio now is red, and for sure, Florida is certainly red. North Carolina hasn't become as in play as we thought it might. Texas, people keep talking about the demographic changes in blue. They keep running Beto O'Rourke, and he keeps getting beat badly. That may be about him. But yeah, it's different. It's still going to be every presidential race, every midterm in this divided country. Most states are going to be so firm, red or blue, that we take them for granted, and it's going to be a few number of states that will decide these things. And I think this new metric or this new model by which Nevada and Arizona are in play, and California, in like these congressional races where they have a lot of mail voting and they take time in counting the mail votes. The idea of having election night returns may be a thing of the past. So there's a lot of the political situation is ever fluid in this country, and everything some of us may overplay as a signal when we see the signals, but I think it's going to be different. It is different than it was before last Tuesday.
All right, let's wade into national politics here in the natural state here. You've got Tom Cotton bowing out of a run for presidency, in part because I think Donald Trump is acting like he's going to get in. Cotton doesn't seem to want to compete in that lane. Asa Hutchinson more likely to run as a result of his "I'm the anti-Trump candidate now." This results of the last week may have helped him a little bit. And then Governor-elect Sarah Sanders is well positioned to be in the conversation, to be on the ticket in 2024, perhaps as a VP candidate and perhaps more later. I guess my general question to you is, do you think that the anti-Trump lane has opened up more for Asa Hutchinson at this point?
I'll tell you, I saw Governor Hutchinson at an event before the election, and he said, well, I put my presidential contemplation out there, and now it's got some traction. So I've got to decide what to do. And I said, really? Traction? And he took a little offensive at that. Like, yeah, I've got traction. He's still polling at 0, or at least the last thing I saw. But yeah, this election taken right now shows that Trump is less a force, and it's more important, or it's more damaging to him among Republicans that he cost them elections they thought they were going to win than that he inspired some crazies to do an insurrection. I mean, you can fix broken windows in the Capitol, but what we're going to do about this aversion to Trump and Trumpism and this extremism? The first beneficiary, I believe, is to a candidate who can be as conservative and as fiery to the conservative base as Trump, but not as self-absorbed and personally damaging as Trump. That is DeSantis's lane right now, and I think it takes up a lot of any anti-Trump lane. But yes, those who have positioned themselves as wanting the Republican Party to move to a more genuine Reagan-esque conservatism with some common sense and some pragmatism, it's a wider lane. It's not as wide as DeSantis. I think the nominee will be Trump or DeSantis. But I think Governor Hutchinson found this lane early. It wasn't really a lane. I think it was, a sidewalk, but or less, or narrower. But he's there, and he's certainly better off after this election than before. I don't think by much at this point, but there's an opportunity for him to get out there and get in the debates, and we'll see. So he's in, or he's in the period of serious contemplation, and there is a place for him in that debate, and he staked it out early, and it has come back to him in a little more positive form than it was when he started. So yeah, that's it.
I just don't see any way he does not form an exploratory committee.
Yeah, I think he's going to do that. Yeah, he's basically said, yeah. So that's good. That's good for you and me. We'll have all these national reporters coming in here wanting to know the real story about Asa Hutchinson. Well, not at the start. He'll have to win something. But Arkansas governors competing for president, that's just mundane anymore, isn't it? Clinton, Huckabee, and now Asa.
All right.
And next, maybe Sarah. Anyway.
Yes. So Governor-elect Sarah Sanders, an impressive 63% of the vote. I think that might have even exceeded her campaign's expectations, if they would admit that. Highest first-term percentage of the vote for any person running for governor since 1978, when Bill Clinton defeated who? Can you name the Republican that he beat in 78?
Was it Lynn Lowe?
It was. You get a free lunch out of that one. Very good.
Good.
This was a resounding victory for her. And when you combine that with what you've seen in the Arkansas legislature, even more of a majority, super majority in the House and in the Senate, I call it a super duper majority now, perhaps. And all through the federal and statewide offices. What happened in Arkansas that bucked what we saw nationally?
Well, Arkansas always will buck what we see nationally. It just will. In terms of economic trends, it'll be behind or different. And our politics has always been sort of cussedly independent, but it's cussedly independent right now in one unifying way. In rural Arkansas, among rural white voters who still dominate the Arkansas electorate, they fear and or detest national Democratic policies, national Democratic messaging, whatever they think of what the national Democratic policies in messaging is. I've said to people who said, but Chris Jones, the Democratic gubernatorial nominee, had so many more yard signs. And I said, yeah, that one yard sign would be nothing. Two, there's no number of yard signs that can take off a Democrat's back in Arkansas. Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Chuck Schumer. Those people are just culturally, politically considered utterly alien from Arkansas white rural conservatism. And every election, I get the idea maybe the Democrats are going to do a little better. Last week, what did I say? 41. I predicted 41% for Jones. I'd had people, white conservative males, telling me they might vote for him. I think they probably all did, which got him from 34 to 35%, probably. So I'm reminded every election that this is just an embedded, for now, truth in Arkansas, particularly white rural Arkansas, that it's just. It's not so much Republican, it's which one is not the Democrat. That's which one is not liberal. That's what's working. And she's a smart politician, Sarah Sanders. And people are saying she's not even talking about Arkansas issues. It's like she's running against Joe Biden. She was running against Joe Biden because politics is nationalized. These folks are watching Fox or Newsmax, and that's where the Arkansas votes are. That's how you solidify that base of support, or more than a base of support, that overwhelming support for any Republican. Message to me, let my Democratic friends and my left-wing friends berate me for being cynical, and keep ever in mind, don't get optimistic for any Democratic gains in the state. It's just not going to happen anytime soon, unless there's some sort of earthquake politically that it will require in the short term.
So we see the 63% mandate. We see these super duper majorities in the legislature. You have to say that that's almost a blank check for Republicans, for conservatives to do what they want in the Arkansas legislature. There's going to be no Democratic pushback on much of anything other than just for the record books and history. We really don't know a lot of details about education. We know a little bit about tax policy. It's going to be responsible tax cuts, if you can say that that's kind of what Asa Hutchinson's done. And we know there's going to be some prison and public safety reform too. What are you most interested in learning more about in terms of the Sarah Sanders agenda and the Republican agenda?
I was told late in the campaign that Sanders already had a team at work on education, quote, reform, encompassing merit pay for teachers, school choice, vouchers, this conservative pro-business, pro-competition contest that we basically abandon the existing public school model and blow it up and put public school against public school against private against charter, and let the competition make education opportunities better for our children. I think that's coming full bore. Your guest Sunday, Senate President Pro Tem to be Bart Hester, talked nicely and softly about how we've got to get these children have got to read. We've got to get them, and we're failing them. He's saying, I think and we don't need to put more money. We put plenty of money in, we're just not spending it right. All I heard in that was school choice, vouchers, merit pay for teachers. I think that's sort of a soft, euphemistic version of what's coming. And I think, yes, the Republicans can do whatever they want. It's as good as passed when they propose it. Certainly get no more than 2 votes against it in any Senate committee, because they've laid down the law there. There are no more than 2 Democrats on any committee. But you know what? They won big. Now they're going to govern big. I think that's what we're in for.
All right. He's John Brummett. He's columnist with the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. You and I will have plenty more to talk about. Who knows? By this time next week, we may know who's in charge of the House.
Yeah. There's still 20 seats that are uncertain, either tied up in ranked voting or so close, or mail votes that haven't quite been certified or dealt with. So, yeah. Well, I started to say there's still a chance Democrats could hold the House. I don't know. No, I don't think so.
I think it's a long shot. So,
yeah, quite a long shot.
But it will be a tight House control there, which has a whole nother set of ramifications, which we can talk about next time we're together. So, all right.
Well,
Thank you for being with us.
Okay, go ahead. I won't start another subject. I'll see you next week. Next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.